Hi, this is Mark Waid, writer of Superman Birthright, and you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's the Krypton Report!
Host Tyler, and welcome to Krypton Report, a podcast dedicated to all things Superman, Supergirl. We're going to look at the Supergirl TV series as well as the Krypton TV series, anything that has to do with the characters in their world. Comics, movies, TV shows. We will talk about everything and anything. We are part of the Southgate Media Group podcasting network. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, Apple Podcast, please leave us a review to help us get better. You can find me personal at JTYPatrick on Twitter and everything else. You can buy a Krypton Report t-shirt at tpublic.com. Check it out. They have all sizes, colors, styles of shirts. Just go to tpublic.com and search Krypton Report and you'll see our logo. And every time you buy a shirt, it helps support other podcasts from southgatemedia.com. Thank you. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Krypton Report. This is a very special Krypton Report because in this episode, we're actually going to talk about the season 1 finale of Krypton. One of the shows that this podcast was named after, because when we came up with this podcast, we were supposed to get Supergirl and Krypton about the same time. And here we are, 3 years into Supergirl and 1 season into Krypton while Supergirl still goes on. So times table is a little shaky, but that's okay because we're excited. And when I say we, I mean me and James. That's right. You know why? If Solomon was awake, he would be here with us because he loved the ending of this episode. Spoilers coming, but James's text summed up his emotional feelings in a couple of words that we cannot say on this show. So let's get into Krypton and welcome Mr. James Cole.
Hey, Tyler. How's it going?
Good, man. All right. First of all, this episode was awesome. And my mind hurts from thinking time travel.
Yeah, I mean, it's the time travel aspect of it. I'm really excited that they don't have to. With the time travel aspect, they can go back and correct it. So they have the freedom to be able to open it up and tell a very, very interesting story, which seems like season 2 is going to be like majorly interesting.
We're gonna get to season 2 predictions at the end of this episode. Because
right, all ready to go into the episode. We haven't talked news yet.
Yeah, seriously. News. We're gonna try to make this brief, but we got some news, people. First of all, news-wise. We'll brush over some of the quick speculation. Speculation, no big deal. Ben Affleck wants to stay as Batman. When it happens, it happens. I'm not holding my breath.
I'd like it to happen.
So would I. Stephen Amell wants Superman to appear on Arrow. We'll see if that happens.
Hey, I want Tyler Hoechlin back. He's done a good job.
Let's see. Tom Cruise has been mentioned about being maybe Hal Jordan in the DC cinematic films. My thoughts on that is don't really want him to because I feel like he's an attention hog, and that was part of what killed the Mummy. And if they're going to pick an older Hal Jordan, do the brown hair with like the white sides, just go ahead and do Nathan Fillion. The guy's still in great shape. Still do the role. Everybody loves him. Just go ahead and do an older Hal Jordan with Nathan Fillion.
Oh yeah, he's perfect. I wanted him as Nathan Fillion back before Ryan Reynolds, and he's the voice of him in so many animated versions.
Exactly.
He's got the Hal Jordan swagger even though I like Green Lantern for what it is, it's Ryan Reynolds he has that sarcastic swagger, a little less than the confident swagger that Nathan Fillion has.
Exactly. And that's what, I just watched the trailer. Nathan Fillion has a new show coming out called The Rookie.
I am going to watch that for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the show, and it looks like he looks great in it. So that's why I'm saying he could just go ahead and still be Hal Jordan. And speaking of Ryan Reynolds, I guess there was a tweet thing that was sent out by Warner Brothers that they said they want their Green Lantern ring back from Ryan Reynolds from all the hate that he puts on it. So just thought that was kind of interesting. Let's see here.
I think that's just them being salty.
Yeah.
He knows that there's I think Ryan Reynolds just knows that, the movie wasn't what it should have been. He can knock on it like everybody else. I mean, heck, he was the star of it. It's not like he's really saying I wish I never did Green Lantern. He just makes a lot of jokes.
Yeah. I agree. We got, I'm trying to keep this a little bit more concise here because my notes were all over the place. Season 7 of Arrow, supposedly Oliver's going to be getting the classic mustache and goatee. That'll be interesting to see on Stephen Amell. It'll be nice to see as Green Arrow becomes more and more Green Arrow. Let's see. Krypton officially is getting a season 2. I thought that was already confirmed, but I guess not.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, that it was confirmed, but it's been breaking this week.
So, and then Supergirl's going to move to Sunday nights in the fall. That's going to be weird, but I think it could work. Like you and I were talking about, if they do that and they don't do this broken schedule, like I mentioned to you how if somebody has Netflix and they're watching all the shows, if they get to the crossover episode, they're going to miss the first episode because it was on Supergirl, because Supergirl's not on Netflix yet, because it hasn't finished its season. So if they can organize these shows to where they're right behind each other, so they're a little bit more concise and we don't have a break where one show takes over for a month or two, it'll be nice. Yeah,
it'll be nice for the postseason media, streaming, be able to binge it and stuff like that. I do like the new slate. I mean, sure, it's Sunday, but honestly, what are people doing on Sunday? The majority of people are at home getting ready for work. So
yeah,
if they're interested. Plus, they've got Supergirl leading into Charmed, so they may have that fan base who's actually going to pick up watching their new reboot. Anyways, this isn't about that. But
no, that's usually, for the longest time, Smallville and Supernatural were paired up because they had a very similar fan base, and that gave them, strength on that night.
Yeah, Supernatural's going into 14th season next year.
Amazing.
Right.
So, and then there's one more piece of news for two more pieces. One more for Supergirl for the TV series. Rumor has it that Manchester Black is coming to Supergirl. And you know what that means for me and you, James? It's like our dream come true, because the first time James and I talked, we talked about Superman versus the Elite. And one of the things I said was Manchester Black would be a great villain to have on Supergirl.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. It really, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find something really fast.
Oh no, you're fine.
There it is. For Supergirl, Manchester Black coming in, I think that's a really good, I hope it's a really good change for season 4. I mean, kind of like season 3 or, like the Flash. The Flash had speedsters season 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to change it. Well, with Supergirl now, all 3 seasons have, the overarching story of the season has been, extraterrestrial threats.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense. I mean, she's an alien, so, that makes sense. But, I think the 4th season will be nice when she's more challenged, more challenged on Earth, you know, from Earth, her being challenged, her views and her actions of her heroism, you know, that being challenged by like Manchester Black and the elite, you know, quote unquote. Their powers, they're so powerful, you know, same thing with Superman, that they'd easily be able to keep her at bay and escape and do what they want to do. You know, and they would do a similar thing, you know. They would, you know, leave her feeling helpless while they're killing and stopping criminals, and you know the public would be behind that because they're not under threat, because these criminals are not going to be around anymore. They can't break out. There's a lot less threats. So, you know, the public wouldn't be behind her as well, you know, so that would be an interesting change for season 4, her public appearance, her public views being negative towards her because people are kind of are supporting the elite and Manchester Black and what they're in their ways.
Exactly. I mean, you pretty much hit it right there on the head. So I definitely, I like what you said about there needs to be a change with the season. You know, with the Flash, like I liked Savitar at first when it was more Dr. Alchemy. And I wish that maybe they had done the Savitar storyline or whatever in season 4, because we needed a break from an evil speedster. But I think the Thinker was a great way of just reviving that entire series.
Yeah. It you know, there were some moments in this season that it kind of got repetitive, but it really did change the tone of the season. You know, from just being the same thing over and over again. Speedster. And that'll be good for Supergirl, you know. It's not always about this big alien extraterrestrial threat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're the you know, Superman and Supergirl, you know, they stand a lot for the same thing. And there are plenty of people on Earth who already don't like the idea of aliens on Earth and things like that. So they've touched on that here and there throughout the 3 seasons, you know. But it kind of would be a big thing for that to be a major part of season 4, because it would cause her to grow in a different way than what they've actually just only touched upon here and there.
All right. Now, the last thing we have for the TV verse, and this is pretty big, is Batwoman is coming to Arrowverse. That's the crossover, is Batwoman. And, okay.
Batwoman in Gotham City.
You know, they've hinted at the existence of Batman, and I think with all the tie-ups and hang-ups that you could get, I think Batwoman's the right play for TV. Because we're never going to see like a Batwoman in a movie. You know, we're supposed to get a Batgirl movie and Nightwing and Batman and all that. But to bring in someone from the Bat family on the television, I think Batwoman's the right play. It's exciting.
Yeah. And, you know, they haven't specified if they're going to do it on Earth 1 or if they're going to do it on Earth 38. You know, some people like to see it on Earth 38 where, you know, not everything always happens on Earth 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. And even if Black Lightning's going to be involved this year, because we still don't even know what Earth Black Lightning is on, if he's on the Earth with Supergirl, which they brought it up. They've mentioned her by name, but that's it.
And so that's exciting. I mean, that's just, you know, it's another female hero. So I say bring it on, Batwoman. Let's see here. Now, Other news, quickly. Wonder Woman's going to get a new costume in Wonder Woman 2. No big surprise there. It's all just good marketing. The actress that played the Flash, his girlfriend Iris in Justice League, that was cut from Justice League, is said she's still supposed to be Iris West in the Flash solo film. So that's good news, I guess. I mean, that's just news. We got our first good look at Shazam in a poster where it's Shazam drinking a cola, it looks like.
I'm pretty sure that's similar to an image from the comics where he's walking with Freddy drinking a big gulp or something.
Yep. Oh, it is. It's great because, I mean, it has that, like, I'm an adult, but I'm a kid look to it.
It seriously looks like a 12-year-old in a superhero's body.
And with that was also the first look at Jason Momoa's Aquaman and his new, more Atlantean armor, which looks pretty cool. I'm not 100% sold on it. I like his Justice League look better, but it looks more like armor, you know, like a standard breastplate, like belt, like warrior armor. I like the Justice League look. It looks more like a suit.
Yeah. Well, even in Justice League, we don't even know what the specific, what he wanted from her was because, I mean, if things are to be BVS, he had the Quindent before. So if it wasn't that, he didn't get that from her.
Exactly. And that's a whole nother discussion that we're going to do when we do our Justice League commentary, because that's something I said after I saw. I was like, wait a minute. And then last little thing I got here is they released the first image of the redesign of this DC superhero girls that are going to get their, I guess, an official cartoon series and not just the tiny animated shorts that they have online. And it looks okay. It just looks like the same basic, really low budget animation.
That's Cartoon Network's bread and butter these days. It's
cheap, easy to draw digitally.
Yeah, it's the short form media, 10 to 12 minutes long. It's the same cheap, quick animation that all of their other shows are these days. Cheap, quick, put it out there, sell some toys, and that's like all it is for Cartoon Network these days, sadly.
And I don't want to buy the toys because they look like junk. First of all.
Oh yeah, I've got my daughter some of the DC superhero girl dolls, and I'm gonna have to snatch up the rest of them before these other toys start coming out because they look like crap. If they match the animation style, they just look like crap.
I got Sayla the large, 12, 13-inch figures of Wonder Woman, Batgirl, and Supergirl. And I wanted to
got Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn right now, I believe.
And I was thinking, Young Justice, everyone said they didn't sell toys for, and that was part of what hurt it. Do you remember what the Young Justice toys looked like? They were garbage.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, they weren't even toys that I would want. I mean, if you just Google, Young Justice toys, you'll be disappointed. Excuse me. Ooh, man. Kids, keep me up. They just weren't that great looking. They were small and very, very, very simplistic. If they had, I don't know, if they were just a little bit more interesting. I'll tell you what toys I really like. I really like the 6-inch toys they've put out for Justice League and BVS. I feel like they were very well done, where they were articulate and detailed enough to be enjoyable, but they were simple enough to enjoy playing with.
Oh, right, like the cheaper line of toys, not like the multiverse or the icons or anything.
Exactly. You know, like their 6-inch, Solomon's got Batman, which Superman and Wonder Woman. And then I think we bought Flash from Justice League. And we were trying to find the cyborg that's not completely like robot looking. And
oh my
great.
God, those are terrible.
Yeah.
I just got the pictures you sent me. Yeah. Those are terrible. That does not even look like Aqualad. Like, that is awful.
So, I mean, they weren't the greatest of toys. They were, you know, very simplistic. And, you know, if you don't have good toys that kids want, but also adults want to buy and add to their collection, then it's going to have problems.
You know, I mean, thank God Young Justice has such a fan base, such a loyal fan base. And thank God Young Justice was such a well thought out and well produced show that it's coming back on the streaming service, and I'm still just ecstatic and can't wait for it to come out. Maybe if it keeps going, they'll have a Young Justice line with the multiverse toys, because they've got toys that look like the actors in live action. They've got toys that look like the animation, like for The Dark Knight Returns, with Superman and Terry Kelly and the armored Batman. So, you know, they've got an extremely good line going there. That'd be a perfect line to put out some really good Young Justice toys.
And I agree completely. You know, one thing is we were talking about, what do you call it? The toys, I can't even talk now. With the detailed toys, like I'm still waiting for my Tyler Hoechlin Superman figure to come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have the multiverse figure of Supergirl. I don't think we have a multiverse figure of Martian Manhunter, but we have the DC Icons higher end one. I really need my Tyler Hoechlin Superman figure to drop, because that's one I want to add to my collection of Supermen.
Yeah, but they have the Flash. They have Supergirl. They have some of the television characters in the multiverse line. So yeah, that'd be nice when they come out with Tyler Hoechlin.
So now we're going to talk about the season finale of Krypton. And I'm going to let James take the lead on this one.
Oh, all right. Well, I just finished it. We pick up right at the end of the last episode, where Brainiac has come to Kandor via his sentry. Apparently, he can. I think his consciousness kind of doesn't have a central body. I think it kind of goes from body to body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it seemed. So that way, when his consciousness the voice got blown up, and when it came back together, it was Brainiac. I think he was close enough to the planet, and that he just, reformed himself. His consciousness was then in that body on the planet of Krypton. But he dropped the shield, and the weather started to come into the city. And, it was really interesting. The ship finally came in.
The idea that the Krypton's environment is like the harsh, for lack of a better term, Donner-esque Krypton. And because of that shield is how we got more of the Snyder-esque Krypton.
Yeah. That was a good amalgamation of it, I think.
They knew what they were doing. They knew how to take care of it.
Yeah. And it was actually really cool the way Kandor City kind of sits both in the Outlands and on the other side. So there's a lot of sunlight on part of it, but then on the other part, it's a little in the dark. There's all the snow and everything, which is guarded when the shield is up, but it was snowing in the city after the shield had come down. But we get Brainiac's ship finally coming in over Kandor. Brainiac is here. He's ready to bottle up Kandor.
We see it like eject its tentacle-looking things out and start to cover Kandor.
Yeah, it starts to cover Kandor, kind of like, and you can see it with all the little cities that they showed on the ship before, that like all of the bottles aren't quite like just what you've seen in previous comics, things like that. Just a bottle, literally. They're actually covered in a force field. They're wrapped with like the same tentacle type stuff, but they are shrunken still. But we actually get to see in this episode that when Val is explaining what Brainiac does with these cities that he takes, and that people inside are alive and preserved, but they're all frozen in time.
Yes. And that explains that Adam Strange is in a city on Brainiac's ship that looks like Earth.
That's what I said. It looks just like Earth. People are on cell phones. There's buildings. It certainly doesn't look like an alien world.
Now, you said Val. Let's talk about real quick that when Val-El fell, when he was supposedly killed, he actually teleported himself to the Phantom Zone and has been in the Phantom Zone since then. And through Zod and Seg, they're able to bring Val out of the Phantom Zone and into present-day Krypton.
Yes, Val is alive.
Which is awesome. And I love his cape.
So Zod decides that the only way, Brainiac is here, and the only way, without Doomsday, he believes, to challenge Brainiac is with the knowledge that Val-El possesses. Because he knows that Val-El is alive. He spent time with him in the Phantom Zone. Come to find out, he lied and cheated and stole Val's device and escaped the Phantom Zone. Betrayed and left Val in there. Zod is certainly showing his colors in this episode.
Yes.
It's very manipulative.
Yes, he is.
So he goes in, which I thought was really nice, the way he talks about time and space being non-existent in the Phantom Zone. That for him to go in and locate Val, it could be days or weeks, but for them, it would be almost instantaneous. So he goes in, and almost instantly, both of them come back out. Which, didn't he just... I got a little confused with that. Didn't he say only one person could use it at a time or something?
I think so. Because I was in there... Because I was a little confused at the first moment. The way he said it. And then it kind of dawned on me what he meant when he was like, like what you just said about, for me, it could be days, weeks, whatever, but for you it'll be instantaneously. I thought he meant it more like, I need to be the one to go because I could find him faster. But yeah, it kind of, I was like, oh, that's what he meant.
Right. But yeah, Val-El is alive. He's been alive for the last 14 cycles in the Phantom Zone, which is very interesting. So it's nice we actually get Val back, and even moving forward, it looks like he's going to be busy in the future come season 2.
Yep, hold that thought, because
Oh yeah.
we're gonna get back. We're gonna get back around to that, because where is it? Hold on. So we get to see Dev M now has a bionic arm, and all I could think was he's now the Winter Soldier.
With your Winter Soldier arm.
And okay, so they have the knowledge about Krypton's destruction. If Brainiac, even succeeds in taking Kandor, could they do something to prepare the whole planet to fly off, and colonize a new planet and make Krypton, new Krypton or something?
Right. Yeah, with that knowledge of the future, I mean, sure, it's going to be hard to get people to, especially the way they discuss about the same corrupt government is what allowed the planet and everybody on it to be destroyed.
Now here's ready. Have you ever seen the movie Looper?
Yes, I have.
Awesome.
I love it.
Okay. Now, the one thing about Looper, real quick, side tangent, is at the end, spoilers, people, okay? Spoilers right now. If you haven't seen Looper, stop this, go see it, or skip ahead. I'll try to figure out how long ahead. But at the end, when Joseph Gordon-Levitt shoots himself, okay, it stops Bruce Willis. But technically, it should have rewound the entire movie, because nothing in that movie would have happened, because a younger version never grew up to be the older version to go back in time to fight the younger version. Okay? Now, think about that. Then think about how Eddie destroyed Thawne in the first season of Flash. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Could Seg kill himself or do something and having Zod not being born? And then Zod wouldn't be there?
That is quite a possibility, honestly. The only thing that I kind of think is that she is now pregnant with baby Zod from the last time.
And that's okay. That goes back to, what if she's naturally pregnant, because they have not told us why they cannot reproduce naturally. Okay. Mm-hmm. Lyta is naturally pregnant with baby Zod, and Corvex is going to become Jor-El. Because he was named Corvex because Seg was going to be a Vex. But now that he's been re-gilded or whatever as an L, name would change. Or they're having Corvex and she's pregnant or something. Maybe there's a third brother. I don't know. All I know is it's getting trippy with some time travel and some, does Zod have to, take care of Seg to make sure that he is created?
Right. Well, we did see. Oh no, that's a little bit farther ahead.
I was gonna say this though. Like, do you feel like Lyta's slightly becoming more evil in this episode? Like, we don't get Jaina in this episode at all.
No.
We do see that Superman's cape. They bring her up, but we do see that Superman's cape's almost completely gone, but we don't get Jaina at all. And
well, certainly with the turn of events, I mean, in the moving forward in the future, you certainly could be heading that route. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we get Val. We've got Brainiac.
We see that the General Zod tries to make a idea about giving Val to Brainiac to spare Krypton.
Yeah, because Val has, I'm guessing through the Phantom Zone, has figured a way to see the future, glimpse the future. So I think, he's trying to give Brainiac that new knowledge he wouldn't have because Val's not in Kandor. Trying to give him that knowledge to be able to glimpse the future and to spare the city of Kandor.
And Seg's like, no. And they have a skirmish. There's got to be another way. So, that's like you were saying, Zod showing his colors. And I'll tell you right now, this is my favorite Zod, hands down.
Oh, yeah, by the end, I was like, wow, that is powerful.
Because I was watching it with Jania, and she hasn't watched the whole series with me. She's like been in and out. And I'm like, he's got the perfect regal aristocraticness that Terrence Stamp had, but the might and intensity that Michael Shannon had.
Yeah.
Like he's the perfect blend of the two. And I'm like, this is my favorite General Zod.
Big time. In Smallville, they tried to make Callum Blue like a young version of Terrence Stamp. And he did a good job. Honestly, I think he stepped up his acting game in the one episode he was in the 10th season.
Yes.
In the 9th season, he seemed very, pretty over the top, trying to pull it off.
One-dimensional.
But in the 10th season, and he was only in it for an episode, he really stepped his game up and he felt more comfortable. Or he looked more comfortable. But, Zod comes up with that plan to do that for Brainiac, and Lyta at this point is ordering the Sagittari there. She won't allow them to be fearful and run from Brainiac. She's determined to fight, and she orders a bunch of Sagittari out and a bunch of skimmers, and they're going out to fight Brainiac. And with a wave of his hand, first all the skimmers are flying in, and you see all the people of Kandor. They start to see, they see their warriors, their army moving in, and they're cheering. They see it, they're cheering, they're happy. And with a wave of his hand, Brainiac just blows up all the skimmers in midair, and they all go crashing to the planet.
I know the whole telekinetic, telepathic Brainiac is intense.
Yeah, he's powerful in this, which honestly, he should be. There should not be a way that the people on Krypton, without any superpowers, they shouldn't stand a chance. That's the way it is. That's the story. He's got generations and planets worth of power, technology. So
we're going to pause on Brainiac for a second. We're going to jump back to a character we haven't really touched on. We're going to talk about her story with Nyssa. Now, Nyssa has snuck in to Kandor. She goes with Jax-Ur to where they have the Codex. And I'll just say right now, the Codex in this looks much better than the weird skull Codex thing in Man of Steel.
Well, the one thing she did, she came in and I think she ran into Jax-Ur because she was there to take her child. She demanded the Genesis chamber prep her child Corvettes for transport to move out of Kandor.
Which is interesting because they hadn't even been bonded yet together, but they'd already submitted their DNA to create Corvettes.
Mm-hmm.
And Jax-Ur and Nyssa begin a communication, and she asks her about, how her mother died and all this. And I'm thinking, okay, they're going to say that Jax-Ur is Nyssa's mom. That was my first thought because they already set up that she used to have a different name and it's not anymore.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. That one didn't occur to me.
And then what we find out is that Nyssa, as we know her, is actually one of the Vera Protocol clones. That she actually died in the accident with her mother, and that they used, they were able to. There was enough life or whatever in her body to program her clone with the mental memories and brain patterns of her original self, and she begins freaking out, saying, that, you know, her whole life is a lie and all this. And I'm kind of thinking, is it a lie? I mean, it's just like the same mind, new body, same person.
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, just like Jack Stewart talks about, I mean, the greed of the elite houses, you know, trying to live their consciousness immortally, you know, transferring it from just empty shell to empty shell, just their consciousness living on.
And I'm like, that's a big deal. Like, we don't know how young or old Nyssa supposedly was, and how we see some of the bodies in the Bearer protocol. They all look more like they're in adulthood.
Right. See, I'm still wondering about the if Zod is a natural birth in this version, or if he still comes from the Codex, or if he still comes from the Genesis chamber. Because I mean, if she was already pregnant, he would exist. He wouldn't disappear. But if what happens to Seg, you know, was permanent, like at this, or you know, at least partially permanent, like would he have been? Would they go to the chamber and pair their DNA to create him from the chamber as he had been in, you know, born from the chamber before?
Right. That's why the way that they talk about his birth and his, you know, everything, I feel like it was hidden, and that's why. And I want to know, like, could Lyta go to the Genesis chamber, insert her DNA, and then pull up like Seg's? Like, how does it work? Like, it's on file or whatever, you know, where him and Nyssa inserted theirs. Does Seg have to produce another sample?
Right, right.
Or could she just go and do it? So let's jump ahead a little bit to Nyssa and Jax-Ur meet up with everybody a little bit later. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember something. I'm trying to remember. Jax-Ur eventually sees Val and he's alive, and she's excited and shocked at the same time. Not a big spoiler. I can't remember where that falls in. It's not in my notes here. But
yeah, that's actually pretty much towards the end, kind of after everything else has happened.
Okay, so we get basically Brainiac shows up in the fortress.
Yep, Zod leads Brainiac to the fortress to get Val.
And he mentions Brainiac as a 12th level intellect. He shows up. Let's see. And I also had here in my notes about if Lyta's in Kandar when it's taken, you know, how does that affect the birth creation of General Zod? Like,
because he pretty much had Kandor at that time.
Because we saw everybody starting to slow down.
Yep, everybody started to freeze. You know, Seg earlier on, he talked with Lyta and, you know, said, good job for, you know, distracting Brainiac. A lot of people escaped Kandor. And so that was pretty cool. They were all working together, doing something. But yeah, they were at the point there when Kandor was about to be taken. People were frozen, and the city was becoming surrounded in that force field.
And so, because of that, we have Brainiac in the fortress, and he's talking to Val, and he comes up to attack Val. Find out it's just the hologram of Val, and basically they suck Brainiac into the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, it's a nice little trick on Seg and Val's part there, using the hologram to kind of distract Brainiac and bring him up onto the platform, so Seg could activate the Phantom Zone projector.
And we see while that's happening, Superman's cape is being rebuilt and repaired,
which was actually really cool. They did a really close CGI look of the fibers coming back together and regrowing. That was actually pretty cool.
And I kind of wish, like, as I thought about it more and more, I wish that, like, Val's cape was like a family heirloom that he passes to Seg. Seg passes to Jor-El, and Jor-El gave it to Cal, and that's actually Cal's cape.
Mm-hmm.
Just, that's something I like they did in some comics and stuff. So, so that's happening, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, that's weird because he didn't take Kandar yet. So how is that possible? Did he just what he did, the little bit he did, screw up the planet's core? And then as Brainiac's getting sucked into the Phantom Zone, who else gets sucked into the Phantom Zone?
Seg. Brainiac uses his tentacle-like things to reach out and grab Seg and get pulled into the Phantom Zone. Val reaches up and grabs his hands, trying to hold him, trying to help pull him back. And Seg gives him a nice callback to the first episode when Val tells him to keep believing in a better tomorrow. And he tells his grandfather to once again start believing in a better tomorrow.
And part of me just wanted to insert as that was happening, Seg just looks at him and says, always hold on to Smallville. And, I'm sitting there thinking okay, and that's where it comes back around like we talked about. Well, if Seg's in the Phantom Zone, is it up to Val to carry on the family lineage? Or is Lyta already pregnant? Because we have to ensure General Zod's creation. Or is it going to be a paradox thing, like a Thawne or something?
Right. Yeah, because if he got sucked into the Phantom Zone at this point, I mean, the only way if she's not pregnant is for him to get out and them still have to bond their DNA to make Zod if she isn't pregnant.
So
that's kind of a convoluted story there. I mean, it'd be easier for her to be pregnant at this point.
Yep. Let's not try to be James Cameron here and make one of the biggest paradoxes of time travel that's annoying. So we see good old General Zod destroys the Phantom Zone console, so they can't retrieve Seg. Brainiac's gone.
Which, yes, Brainiac gets sucked into the Phantom Zone, and his ship, it actually releases the city, and his ship crashes on the outskirts of Kandor City. And as General Zod blows up the Fortress panel, the Fortress computer, which, interestingly enough, I mean, I didn't know everything. All of his information was stored in that one location because he seems like all is lost after he blew that up.
Yes.
But he blows it up, and the cape starts to change. The house, the yellow Superman symbol, the yellow House of LS on the cape starts to change to black and red and changes to a Zod symbol.
And then I was like, okay. And this goes back to my somehow is this going to be like a story of Val Zod, the Superman of Earth 2 later on in the comics. And we see Val later.
Well, this is a time travel element.
Yeah. As the closing credits are going, Val's trying to rebuild the Phantom Zone. We see Zod giving a speech, rallying Krypton together. He's now assuming command as their leader.
Building up the military. And this is actually the part that got me when I texted you my summary of it real quick there with a couple of words I can't say, just wholly, because that part when he had all of the other leaders of the other city-states in front of him, and he was up there and he demanded kneel before Zod, and that was powerful. Like nobody's ever done it like Terrence Stamp, and that was powerful.
That made me like, wow. And like we see wherever Adam Strange is, like there's a Zod statue all of a sudden. We see Kim signing up for the military, like really quick. Like I've been looking for him the whole episode. We see him in line getting like his military issue clothes.
Kind of seems like he's being forced into the military.
Yes.
Too happy, although he's not happy at this point since Ona got blown up and everything.
And the very end of the episode is what kind of made me happy and sad because Solomon was watching with me the whole time for this.
Hoping for this.
We hear a thud. Thud. Glass break. Scream. And we see Doomsday punch out. And that's the closing shot of season 1.
And that was my other thing for the for my review I texted to you. Zod was the holy moment, and this moment here at the end, Doomsday looks awesome.
Yes,
just
he does.
Sweet inside what we've seen before, but we actually saw it like in motion, and the arm punch out, and you saw all those spines and stuff, the bones, the arm, everything, like. So much truer than anything done before, and looks better just because it's CGI and it's not like a bodysuit like Smallville.
Smallville had a bodysuit, and honestly,
given Smallville's bodysuit, but the lighting and the camera angles they used for the majority of Doomsday, he looked like Doomsday.
Yes,
even with it being a prosthetic bodysuit, they did a really good job of lighting him right. Of CGI to make it look right.
And the BVS, I think Doomsday was too big. It looked more like that's how Darkseid should be. He was too big.
Right.
He never got enough bones grown on him. And I hated when he became like Electric Doomsday. Like that to me just really angered me right there. But yeah, being too big was one thing. Like he's supposed to be bigger than Superman, but not like 7 times the size of Superman.
Yeah, I mean I think, what did they describe his mass as before? Like I don't know, somewhere between 800, 900 to like 1,200 pounds or something. I mean, that's only like, with the mass of the character, I mean, that's only like 3 times the size, 4 times the size of Superman. That's full mass. That's not like, 3 times the height than, 3 times everything else. I'm talking about like as a whole mass. You know what I mean? So that would only make him like 9 feet tall, not like 14 feet tall and like 12 feet wide. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, but we can digress on that later, but
yeah.
What do you give this episode rating wise?
9.5. 9.5. I was at the end, like I said, I don't even know if I finished what I was saying, but at the very end, I was like, oh my God. Like, season 2 is going to be epic. That was a great lead-in and a good ending to the Brainiac story that they started this season with.
And they set it up. I mean, they can still have Brainiac return.
Mm-hmm.
He can come back, and there can still be some play with Brainiac in the future. And of course, what happened at the end that just opens up the time travel. That if they had ended Krypton like this, it would have been very I would have needed like a 2-hour film or something, kind of like how they did the Battlestar Galactica films. Like they would have a season, then every now and then they'd have like a Battlestar Galactica movie, because you couldn't end the series on this note.
Right. It's like Firefly, 1 season, and then you had to have a movie to kind of
help wrap it up.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad they're having a 2nd season. What's going to be very interesting is Doomsday. We know that it is a force of destruction unlike any other on a planet without anybody with superpowers. I mean, it's I don't even know what to say, because honestly, that would be just, his name says it all. That's just it.
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, please leave us a review to help us get better. If you're an Amazon shopper, just remember you can go to southgatemediagroup.com. There's a portal, log into Amazon, and you'll shop into your account just regular, but it also helps keep all the podcasts on and helps keep Southgate running. Remember, look up in the sky.